So sewage treatment. We talked about it a little bit to begin with when we were looking at the wetlands, but how we artificially treat it is by this process where we go through primary, secondary, and tertiary treatment. If we start out with primary, there are two types of primary. There is the first one, which is by screens, which is called preliminary or pre-treatment, which is really just to get the big stuff. The goldfish that were flushed down the toilet, the feminine products that were flushed down the toilet, toilet paper. So all that is trapped by preliminary treatment. And then, once you let it go through, you still get like sand and smaller solids that get through. Those go into a settling tank. So they'll settle down at the bottom. There's usually some type of chamber that goes out here, and that then is collected and taken to a landfill. And then as that goes through, you still have some larger solid particles, and usually this is the human waste that can be broken down but still is solid. And then there's one more settling process that occurs, so it settles, and that's which leads down to the sludge or sludge disposal. And that can be used as fertilizers or can be sent to a landfill. As it goes on, you still have a lot of nitrogen and phosphorus within the water from the nutrients from the human waste. So that is taken out by an aeration process by bacteria. So I write that with my mouse. And bacteria, same bacteria that's used within the wetlands or within soil to take nitrogen out of a system or in a system, takes nitrogen and phosphorus out. Then it is sent through another settling stage where it settles. It just sits there and settles, and slowly the solid particles filter downward. The liquid stuff stays at the top. That solid then is taken and sent back to the sludge, so it becomes part of the sludge that then will become fertilizers. So every time you use the toilet, you're donating to agriculture. And then the last part is disinfectants, and they use chlorine or chlorine gas, Cl2, and they hit it with chlorine or ultraviolet light to get rid of some of those disease-causing agents that might have gotten through different types of bacteria. And then last but not least is tertiary treatment, which also uses other types of chemicals like chlorine or different types of chemicals to get rid of some of those last organic compounds. Primary gets rid of solids. Secondary gets rid of nutrients. Tertiary gets rid of bacteria or leftover stuff. Municipality sewage waste. So maybe some of you don't send your water to a sewage treatment plant and you have your own sewage treatment plant in your house. And what would that be? Yeah, it'd be a septic tank. So here we have a house, and in that house under the yard you have this septic tank and then these drainage fields. And if we look at the septic tank, it's got some different stuff going on. Water comes in from the house, or I'm sorry, gray water comes in from the house. Let me write that out here. Let me go down here. Gray water. Using my tablet here for the first time. Gray water really is just dirty, poopy water. Comes in and it sits in your septic tank and it settles into different layers. And what causes it to settle? Yeah, density. So you have sludge at the bottom, which is the solid stuff, and then wastewater, which is liquid, and then scum. What do you think scum is? It sounds nasty. It's really the bubbling up of different types of organic and inorganic compounds that kind of can build and make gas. You might have some bacteria in there doing some processes that cause a little bit of bubblage. That's what the scum is. Yum. Well, scum builds up on top, so you need to put your pipe a little bit lower so it gets just the water. And that water then is pumped out and dispersed through these drainage fields out and throughout your yard. So it really is kind of just dispersed out back into the system that then can infiltrate down into groundwater. And if the sludge builds up too much, you got to have the thing clean. So that's what the manhole's for. They come in, they clean out the solids. Usually I have to have that done once 7 to 10 years. Have you ever had that done? It stinks. Have you ever had it septic tank break on you? It's pretty nasty too. Alright, some laws to try to improve water quality. We have a couple different ones. We have the Safe Water Drinking Act, which puts a maximum on containment levels in drinking water, like fluoride and chlorine, and bleach and other stuff as well. And then the Clean Water Drinking Act, which puts a national emission limit on industries for emitting into the environment. So sewage plants and anything like that, if they're found to be putting in too much nutrients or runoff, they can be charged or prosecuted with this act. And then the Resource and Conservation and Recovery Act. And this really has to do with hazardous waste. Hazards. How you manage them, where they go, and make sure that you clean them up once you've destroyed some type of area.